Welcome, welcome. Here we go. Yeah, excited to kick off our wellness summit event here, and have everybody in our great audience, all the speakers on stage here. Looking forward. Yeah, just waiting for everybody to finalize the kickoff here, and yeah, basically this is part of the Prepare for VC Startup Oasis events. So our goal and mission is to be that place that all entrepreneurs turn to for whatever resources they need to move their venture forward. That's a combination of the business side of it, the skills and development, as well as the personal side, growing as an entrepreneur, including our wellness focus and making sure you take care of yourself while you're taking care of your business. So yeah, that was a big goal behind this summit and event today. And yeah, really wanted to make sure that, especially it was a conversation with Dec that we had, who's one of our speakers and wellness champions today, is that, timing wise, this is we're in the middle of February now. Some of the New Year's resolutions might still be going on, but a lot of them probably aren't. And this is a good time to sort of take a step back, reflect on how you can continue to grow both personally and professionally throughout the rest of the year here. And yeah, just waiting for Chris to jump on stage here. But just to give a little bit of context into what the event will look like today is we're going to have really going to be an open discussion to start off. We're going to have all the panelists introduce themselves, and then really any questions you have, we have a Q&A function on the side where you can either ask a text question, which would be, you type it in the Q&A there and it will pop up on the screen. We'll be able to ask and answer those, or a video question, which means basically you raise your hand and you come up on stage and ask directly. Yeah, so either of those, and Chris will be moderating shortly here. And yeah, he'll be asking some questions for the panel as well. There we go. Hey, Chris. Yeah, I was just kicking off, running down the agenda today. And yeah, so, we're going to start with that moderated style. Again, ask any questions in the either text format or raise your hand in the video Q&A session. We'll pull you up to stage here. And yeah, really excited for this interactive style summit today. And then, following the first hour here, it's going to wrap up with, you'll see focus rooms up at the top, and those will be personalized tables you can go to, and everybody will be on screen. You'll be able to interact with all of our experts directly. So yeah, I'll hand it over, Chris, if you want to take over from here.
Yeah, thank you, Jason. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, champions. And, today's kind of a first step towards regularity of these kind of events, because I think the most important thing that we're going to cover today is some of the stuff that goes into the intangible part of being successful. And we're all different. We're all different people. We're all dealing with different aspects of challenge and life and success, and all of those things, good, bad, or indifferent, can pose obstacles. They can pose challenges to the places we go, with the people we go there with, and the things that we do. Everyone has the best intentions. And so from the perspective of the Startup Oasis and the Prepare for VC leadership team and our wellness champions, we scoured the planet, finding the right people at the right place at the right time. And the people that you see here today on this stage were the first that we found in order to say, yes, we have the right mixture, the right combination of people that are not only leaders and amazing people, but are experts in what it is that they do for others and for themselves every day. I'm a huge advocate of throwing yourself into the machine, so to speak, and testing it out and making sure that it's foolproof, that it is something that works. As a former professional athlete, there is nothing more critical to performance and results than doing it and doing it over and over, and then doing it intentionally better and better each time. So today, what I'd like to start off with doing is giving each of our champions the ability to introduce themselves in their own words, right directly from the source. I think that's super important. And then we can get into the content and the experience. I will break it down real quick, just to summarize what Jason laid out there. We're going to do this for the first 60 minutes till about 10 o'clock. I know we ran a little bit behind, but sometimes that happens. And then from there, 10 o'clock to 10:30, we will go into individual breakout rooms wherever the audience sees that they would love to dive in a little bit deeper and get immersed, or, whatever questions or things that you want to have answered. By all means, feel free to go into all one of those breakout rooms. So without further ado, I'm going to and pass it over to our first champion, our first wellness champion, Declan Mclaughlin from the UK, our nutrition champion. Declan, please, we'd love to hear about you and what it is you're doing.
Of course. Thanks, Chris. Such a great intro, and obviously delighted to be here with everyone and really excited about the discussion. So like Chris mentioned, I'm a nutritionist, and been doing that for the past 4 or 5 years now. And I'm really, really passionate. You'll be delighted to hear about balance. And one of my biggest things is nothing's off the menu. And in terms of nutrition, I've always approached it from a flexible point of view. In terms of my background, to add on to my nutrition certification, I have a master's in biochemistry. So when you hear me speak with some answers, you'll probably hear a few kind of sciencey tidbits included. And also work for a startup, also run another startup community. So kind of re-merging those two things together. But yeah, really looking forward to the discussion and looking forward to all your questions.
Fantastic. Thank you, Declan. Next, we have our yoga master, our yoga champion, Julia from Germany. Please, we would love to hear a little bit about you and your focus and whatever else you'd like to share.
Yeah, thank you for the introduction. Yoga master seems so, I don't know, like I'm a guru or something. I'm not, by the way, but yeah, so I actually do a lot of things, and I do teach yoga here in Germany, but also online. I do have my own online studio, and I do a couple of other things as well. I'm a founder myself. I recently started or launched a stress management platform. I'm also I'm coming from human resources initially, and I do a lot of employer branding, have been working for big corporates on a global level, and love to now bring it all together. And I kind of now went on a mission to create a better working world, because I do believe that the way we have established our society and the way we work is sometimes maybe a little bit misleading. So I am really curious to see how everyone is doing, and what everyone is kind of bringing to the table, and how everyone is defining the work life. And then I try to figure out really what everyone is needing. Needing? You don't say that, yeah? I mean, what everyone is needed in order to really live a healthy life. Yeah, and this is something I'd like to figure out all together, because I do believe it's an individual approach we should have here. And I'm really excited to hear what you have to say, because you are all founders yourself, and what it is you may be struggling with, or what you have been experiencing. So yes, that's a little bit about me.
Fantastic. Thank you, Julia. And last but certainly not least, David, our meditation champion, and good friend of mine, someone I've known for, it feels like lifetimes, but very, very knowledgeable, kind and just a person that spreads positivity wherever they go. Meditation is one of the tools and skills that you have, but please share with us an introduction about you and what it is that you do for others.
Thank you, Chris, for those kind words, and hello to everyone who has made some time out of their busy entrepreneurial schedule to be here. Really appreciate the time. It's an honor to be here with Dec and with Julia as well. So meditation. So my background is 35 years in financial services, launching lines of business or being in the ecosystem associated with financial services. I've worked for VC-backed firms. I've launched my own company and seek VC funding. I have my own consulting firm now for 4 years, which is business strategy to entrepreneurs and to small businesses. So I definitely understand the pains and the challenges, but also the successes and the feeling of being elated in moving your business forward as an entrepreneur. But about 4 years ago, I decided to actually bring in meditation for myself because it's something I've always had inside me for as long as I can remember, going back to 6 years old. Is just health and wellness, a way of being with yourself and with other people. It's just always a big component innately of who I am. And the short version basically is, after focusing on meditation, it just so happened a confluence of events. A group of people wanted me to teach them meditation. And then just the referral, it just really was exploding in terms of people saying, you have to come do this meditation in the morning. And so I lead meditation now for several years in the morning for East Coast and West Coast groups. And the whole focus, I like what Julie said, it's really the individual. Each person, all of you are unique. Your own belief system, your own conditioning on how you grew up, your own perspectives, your own values. And so nothing is in the box. How you grow individually, personally, and professionally through meditation is really what my focus is all about. It's you as an individual, even though you may be doing group meditation together.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you. And so I'll share just a brief introduction about myself, and then we can venture forward, as Jason would say. So my name is Christopher Dube. I am the performance breathing champion inside the wellness portal of the startup Oasis community. I'm a former professional athlete and Division I collegiate athlete, not in the same sport. So I was sort of given these physical gifts when I was born and sort of relied on that. And through those very intense interactions and engagements through athletics, I had to learn how to control myself and control my mind. And when you have to produce, or you don't get to play, or you don't get paid, you sort of prioritize the way in which your physiological body and your neurological mind interact in order to produce a result that others judge and then compensate. But that's not the entire story. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I come from an entrepreneurial family. And at the end of the day, when I got hurt in both sports, ice hockey, I had several concussions and had to stop. But then I had two-man beach volleyball to go to Southern California to then get paid to play. I hurt myself there, so my body was not equipped really to live up to the expectations and demands of professional athletics. That's when I really had to start to control my mind and my body, because I had never really had a job. My job was always sports. It was always getting myself prepared for the next athletic contest. So through martial arts, I learned breathing, got around some really great people, and started to learn different modalities and techniques for getting different results, which then transitioned over into business. And when I started my third company, a consulting company to help executives perform in high pressure situations and compartmentalize for situational strategy, breathing was a huge part of that. Because if I were to say to you right now, you're going to give me a pitch that I'm going to either give you $1 million for or $0, I may even take money from your bank, what happens in your brain and in your body? Chaos is what happens. And the physiological aspects of being able to control that is real. And so breath for me has turned my life into something positive, where in most cases it could have gone the other way. So that's what I like to share, and where I guess all of us start to come together. So we all know from hearing everything that our champions have talked about in their introductions and where they are in the world, this isn't easy. And it just gets harder. And it gets harder the better that you do. So you have that to look forward to. But I think some of the things, the challenges, the obstacles could be seen as opportunities if you just had some tools in order to help navigate the trajectory and the direction of travel. And I'm seeing some of the champions, sort of shake their heads yes. So I guess my first question would be, and we have a couple polls that we're going to put up for the audience to engage with. My first question would be, why are you here today? What is it that you need, or you feel, or you've noticed or identified to say, yeah, this is worth my time? Because that is the starting point of any change or any transition. And I'd like to throw it out there to the champions. What were the aspects of starting for you? What did you identify as issues, obstacles, or opportunities that led you to where you are right now? And as the poll goes up and as people start to offer and engage with us, because we know it's morning and probably coffee and things of that nature, so we're going to be gentle with our brains and bodies today to start off. So I'll pose the first question to the champions. What did you identify in your lives, personally, professionally, or otherwise, that had you become who you are today? And maybe you can even share some of the stories along the way. I'd love to hear that, and I'm sure the audience would love to hear that as well.
I can start. So when I, did my very first yoga teacher training, I never intended to actually teach, because I only wanted to do something because I had, I think, over 400 overtime hours when I, switched jobs. And I know that isn't really a thing in the US, but in Germany, it's a big thing. Like you don't have that amount of overtime usually. But it kind of was really, really helpful. And I realized that like going through yoga teacher training was actually the best leadership training I have ever attended. And then I started to incorporate everything into my daily life, everything I've learned there. And then realized throughout the time that wherever I am, I really want to kind of interlace the two worlds, the yoga world, but also the business world, because everything what we learn and also everything what we teach in the yoga world kind of is common sense, because it's about communication, it's about reflection, it's about like what you do with yourself, but also how you react to others. And I feel that in the normal world and the business world that we kind of we leave everything out, right? Like everything is just about business, return on invest, the KPIs, and so on and so forth. And like it took me a while to really see that so many people are currently struggling with the way, the society evolves. And then I kind of left my job. I quit my job and decided I want to bring everything I know, all of my experiences out there into the world. And I really don't care if people have any other opinions or so. I really want to listen and hear what they have to say, because I truly believe that we can only change everything together. We need to create the future all together. So it's very, very close to my heart that I want to take on every opportunity that is out there to really start a conversation, because it's not about black and white. Life is about experiencing things. And it's not that we have that everything is set, right? Like we know that we have to be flexible. We have to be able to adapt. And I know that this is scary, because we all don't really like to lose control and be out of our comfort zones. But I kind of say that this is also something good, that we can step out every single day and start a new day. So I was with Amazon as like a day one mentality. So this is like also kind of, you know, like in my DNA. It's every day is day one, and that's great. I think it's a good thing, and this is also why I'm here, because I love to really start the conversation. I like to hear what everyone else has to say and how we can, do things together, how we can learn from each other. And I love to share everything I have experienced so far and share all of my knowledge. So that's my why, my purpose.
And any of the other champions, please jump in.
Sure, I'll go next. You know, the thing that I find really important is that whether I was in a VC small company, a large company, 40,000, or somewhere in between, private, public, there's always a consistency, which is when it comes to people, there is always a high level of fear, anxiety, and worry collectively distributed amongst people. And people suffer a lot of times from being grounded in their own identity and not adapting and being what they need to be for everybody else to make things work. It's called sacrificing the way that you want to be for everybody else in the workplace so everyone else can work well in their relationship with you. And so what I realized was that when someone can be grounded and comfortable and have self-love, self-value, self-worth, and be comfortable in their own identity or learn their own identity, and then allow that to be the starting point, you don't have to go into sacrifice or adapt for other people, and you remove a lot of anxiety, stress around relationships and dynamics, and you start to become healthier. And so for me, that was really an important aspect that I noticed over the years. And I noticed I was getting wrapped into that myself, and I just decided to consciously change that. And then at the end of, you know, just to wrap up the comment, what I realized most is that when you are most comfortable with yourself, with who you are, what you are, and how you are, it's very easy to naturally get along much better with people, to integrate with people, and to work collaboratively and lead people.
Fantastic.
A couple of good answers to follow. I mean, for me, Chris, going back to my own experience, I remember, especially with nutrition, there's quite a misconception which says that you have to make it complicated. You know, I think for me, I'd tried many of these diet strategies and work hard, play hard approaches where you're essentially depriving yourself of lots of nourishing foods. You're being antisocial because you can't go out for dinner with your friends. And I think for me, those failures really set me up for asking the question, is there a better way? And thankfully there was. And I think for me, what's really powerful about it, especially with nutrition, and I think, to be honest, many other pursuits within well-being, the better way often can be easier, but a lot of it is to do with consistency. So instead of a quick fix and working hard for a couple of weeks, it's doing the simple things well over a period of many years. And I remember, just like in a quick story to wrap up this part of the answer, both my parents were actually my first clients ever when I was considering starting the business. And I had the question, should I do this, in my head? And I remember my mum in particular speaking about wanting to lose some weight. And for me, it was quite an instinctive reaction to help her and protect her from these kind of diets where I just knew that she'd be miserable, she wouldn't get any progress done. And for me, that was a real kind of calling, and they got some really amazing results I was happy to share. So I think from there onwards, I just knew I had to start.
Awesome. You know, the thing that I think that I'm taking away from what the three of you have shared so far is that there's some deep-seated, some deep-rooted things that each of you individually went through in order to look for something that may have already been there. and sort of rediscover or discover for the first time. And then the everyday hustle and bustle of life sort of has this ability to pull us away from habits and pull us away from, and then we're right back mentally, physically, emotionally where we started, and we're like, what am I going to do? Oh yeah. Maybe I can go back to doing that thing that made me feel great, or allowed me to be more than I can be right now for someone else, family, or colleagues, or friends, or I mean, there's a ton of people that play a huge part in success on every level. It doesn't matter if you're a solo professional athlete or if you are a solopreneur. The same things apply. You need an army of people who really care about you and the outcomes and the experiences that you have to engage what we call it, prepare for VC, brain and body currency into your outcomes. And so for me, if I was going to answer my own question, the thing that really scared the shit out of me enough to start practicing breath work daily was when I had to stop playing ice hockey because of concussions. So I'm sure everyone has seen and heard of the stuff in the NFL over years and years of CTE, this brain result of damage and taking hits to the head. Well, at 20 years old, I was experiencing some of those things. Really, really scary. And I'm like, I'm 20. I don't want to live till 28. I want to live till 128. And so what do I have to do in order to change the trajectory and the direction of travel that probably one of the most important organs in my body in order to dictate the success and the relationships I have and the quality of those things plays in my future. And so I started to do some research into why I was having mood swings, why these things were happening, my ability to lose my train of thought, so on and so forth, and realized that our central nervous system is within our control, even though previous to, I don't know, 40 or 50 years ago, it was just sort of an automatic thing that ran in the background. No, we can control that. And we can control that in a way that I found super fascinating, which is something we do every day in order to continue to live and do the things we do, which is breathe. The way in which you breathe, the cadence, the frequency, the intensity, which nostril you breathe out of, if you breathe out of your nose compared to your mouth, all of these things, just like if you were to write with your left hand, if you're right-handed, you will get results that cause a higher level of standard. And once you know that there's a higher level of standard that you can perform at, for me, that was the end or the beginning. They're the same thing. And I went from not being able to function a majority of the day, for most of the days, to outperforming a lot of people in brain stamina and ability to have fluid intelligence. And breathing opens up how blood flows and how areas of the brain work and your body, and it's all connected. There's no this is a part and that's a part. We're all the same circuitry. And so that's why I started. That's why I started to learn and get around people that knew way, way, way more than even I know today. People that are considered gurus in terms of changing your brain body state to achieve things that most people think are impossible. And so that is the backstory. That is the origin point in which I said, I don't want to end up in a really bad place. I want to be in a really great place. And I've had some amazing experiences. So how do I continue to create more of those? And it just transitioned into business, because let's face it, there's a quote out there, and I think it's by Eckhart Tolle, that said, if you could see the damage graphed in front of you of what physiological stress does to your brain and body, you would take every measure possible to not be stressed, period. That is the truth. But we can't see inside. We just sort of deal and push through, and that's the mentality, right? You have to just keep moving forward, but you do in a way that is positive. So one of the things that today is about is sharing stories. I'm looking at the poll now, and it looks like we have some very wellness conscious people at the event today. We put up a poll: how often is wellness activity included in your day? None, 1 time, 2 to 3 times, 3 or more times. And it looks like 100% of the people here that answered the poll, whether you did or not, is okay. It's not mandatory, optional, of course, is they engage in wellness activity 2 to 3 times a day. So I think that's a really positive place to start. I didn't know where we were going to start with that. So what I would suggest and what I would encourage is we have the opportunity with this technology that we're on to have people come up and ask questions, share challenges or obstacles that you're dealing with right now that these people on this panel can potentially help you unpack. Not only unpack, but identify and really sort of get to a place where you can start to make changes, even if it's not a bad place, make changes to the place that you want to be as opposed to where you are. So we have a question that's come up so far, and it's for David from Yelena Galperina. Hello, Yelena. How is it possible to be self-accepting when I am lacking certain skills to take my business to the next level? And so we have our first challenge, our first question to Mr. David Newkirk. Please, if you could,
Sure.
Yelena's reaching out and would love to hear your thoughts and insights.
First of all, thank you, Elena, for asking the question. I'm sure more than myself of the panel members can actually contribute to this answer. I'll start by just saying that there's a separation and a difference between being self-accepting and how your business goes to the next level. Self-accepting is really a focus on allowing yourself to find ways to have gratitude and understanding through personal growth, how and why you are okay as you are, first and foremost, why you are okay, and why you can feel good about who you are, what you are, and the level that you're at with certain skills. It's my belief we're not meant to have all skills and to be everything under DIY. We're meant to be able to grow and through self-acceptance allow ourselves to recognize when we don't have a skill and when to invoke and seek a path to surround ourselves with other resources, whether it's people or other resources to help us bring those skills in to get the business to the next level. I do recognize sometimes for entrepreneurs, then there's a financial question or financial aspect to that, which has to be in troubleshooting. But I think that the big key message here is self-accepting is really a personal growth aspect separate from the business. Thank you so much for asking.
Any of our other champions like to unpack and build off of or open up another avenue from what David has shared with Yelena?
Yeah, of course. Obviously, David's given a brilliant answer, which is no surprise. I think in a similar sense, for me, self-acceptance probably comes first. I think if you're putting yourself under so much pressure, it's actually quite hard to improve, and I think especially, I know Joe and David are experts in their fields. Can't speak for them, obviously, on this aspect, but I know for me that I'm always learning. I'm never done, even with something like nutrition, and I think that that's the reality with anything in life. There's always room for improvement. There's always room to grow, which I think is worth celebrating. And yeah, I'm by no means an expert at all on self-acceptance. And from what I understand, it's difficult. It's not a quick fix, obviously. But I think one thing that for me, I often emphasize to clients who are ambitious and maybe they've hit a plateau, which happens to everyone. Don't forget to look back and see how far you've come. I think that's really quite powerful. Often we're kind of stood sitting at a wall right in front of us, But once you zoom out, you can see just how far you've traveled to get to this point. So.
Very true. Julie, I don't want to put you on the spot. If there's anything that you'd like to add to that, please unmute. If not, that is okay.
No, that's fine. I actually do have something to add because it's like I just want to like kind of add another layer to the question, kind of, because what we do most of the time, what I do see in my, when I look at my own behavior, is that we define ourselves through results, and through success. It's just because our society is based on what we achieve, and it always needs to be better, faster, more efficient. So this is something we have, and what we are seeing, in the environment around us. So it's actually really hard to disconnect yourself from it. This is just a thought I have in my mind, and I wanted to put out there. But also additionally, who says that you need to bring your business to the next level? So the thing is, no one of us has figured it out. Yeah. So we all go out there and we try to create our business or our life. There is no playbook that actually says you have to be here and there, within 5 years or 10 years or whatever. So I have to admit is we're all so brave to, leave our jobs and, try something on our own, that I think that this is such a huge accomplishment. So why do we always keep on pushing ourselves and say, okay, this is not good enough. It needs to be brought up to the next level. And I totally understand that there are, things around financing stuff and, paying bills and stuff. Yeah. But if you just leave out there, maybe it's absolutely fine where you are right now. And maybe that's exactly the stage where you need to be in, because there are other things that are currently going on. And just as a, from my own experiences, try to disconnect the two things, the same as Declan and David basically said, the self-acceptance has nothing to do with where your business is right now. I hope I made sense.
No, that was beautifully said. So I will touch on this briefly. And the entirety of what I would start with is, what is the next level? And how is that outside of where you are now? Anyone that works closely with me knows that anytime they ask me a question, prepare to be asked the question as my answer. And so my question would be, what is the next level, and how do you know that you are not there, or that there is a next level? And that's coming from a place of all there is you now and here. And the way in which that I would always offer advice is to the person that is here now, through understanding and self-awareness. So there are things obviously that you want to improve on. If those things equate to the next level, then that is something that you have deemed as the next level, and you're already aware of them. And so making progress on one thing, going from 0 to 1, 0 not being anything other than the starting point, and 1 being one step towards a skill or a mindset or a feeling or knowledge. And then progress on that would be testing it, sharing it, and allowing it to be what it is the next level would be. Because if you're moving from 0 to 1, that is the next level in a way. So self-acceptance, and I truly believe progress is happiness. And self-acceptance can come from feeling happy, even if just for a moment, that you have decided to identify and take action. And then that action produces a feeling or results. And that feeling of positivity, that feeling of progress, then causes more action and more identification. And so there is no next level. It is just progress. And that may be a very nebulous answer, but I honestly feel like the next level is always where you are and what you're aware of when compared to nothing else except for where you are and where you are aware that you are. So I totally get it. Been there, and the ability to identify what you feel is something that can be improved upon will then create progress and action, which produces a result that is different, more than, or encapsulated and solidifying what it is you are now. Because there is no less or no more. It's just making progress and growth on what it is that you're putting into your business and into your relationships. That's my perspective. Even if it's just physiological or it's neurological or it's knowledge-based, I think understanding and self-awareness is the first step. Progress is the methodology. So thank you for taking the time to share and ask. The forum is open for anyone else in the audience to share obstacles or questions or seek insights. And Yelena, if you have more than one question, or anyone has more than one question, you have the opportunity with this platform. Goldcast is amazing. We love it. Boston based, so it's even better. Sorry, UK and Germany, but it's Boston based. That you can come up on stage and be video so we can see and hear you, or you can text the question in. In the meantime, what I would ask, since we have about 9 minutes or so until we go into the breakout rooms, is just for our champions or even our moderators to share one thing that the audience could do from your expertise and your perspective, your focus area, that may produce unbelievable results from 0 to 1. Doesn't have to be huge, but unbelievable sometimes is just doing something different and having a result that's positive. It's really up to the perception of the person. I'd love to hear, some of the things that from each of your modalities could be incorporated into a day in order to get progress.
Yeah. So actually, when I kind of have this 3-step plan that I took from teaching yoga, also practicing yoga into my daily life. The first thing is always ask yourself, why are you doing this? Yeah, setting an intention is what you usually do when you start a yoga class. So why are you on the mat? And I really think it's a great thing to start a meeting with, your day with. We would also maybe do that in meditation, but also if you think about your what you eat, why do you do that? And then the second thing is try to change your perspective more often. Yeah, try to put yourself into someone else's shoes. This is incredibly helpful. Anytime. Also, if you're running a business and if you, for example, struggle with marketing or whatever, try to really think like your audience. This will definitely help you. It will also. But you can only access that if you're not stressed, by the way. So it's really helpful to do this second layer. And then the third layer is to be more observative. Try not to judge. This is what what I'm trying to teach in my yoga classes is only because, you were able to do a headstand once doesn't mean you're able to do it the next day. But also it doesn't matter. You don't become a superhuman only because you're able to stand on your hands or on your head. it really doesn't matter, because we're all human beings and we tell ourselves that we're not machines or so, but we tend to forget that this is actually true. Like when we live our lives and when we are in the middle of the tunnel and when we're hustling and stuff. So try to really observe what is going on and try to listen actively instead of, listen to react and always judge on the spot. It's better to just be open and be curious and see what life has in store for you. So those are the 3 things I always do wherever I am, whether I enter a meeting or whether I start my day. And I would like to pass that on to everyone out there. Try it.
Great advice. Either Declan or David, one thing that, or 3 things, 5 things that you would like to share that could really impact someone's life, their day, their abilities from your perspective and your modality.
Oh, absolutely. Again, as usual, tough ones to follow with Julia's great recommendations. I'm going to meet in the middle and do 2. The first one is actually hydration. Now, this is something that some people are great at. I'm still working on it myself personally. But I think in terms of one really simple and quite quick habit to do daily, I'd honestly recommend it. And in terms of a target, I'd recommend aiming for 2 liters of water. Now, you're probably thinking, yeah, that's great, hydration. Yeah, I've heard it all before. But actually, there's so many different bodily processes, both physical and mental, actually, in some aspects, that water has a huge impact on. I'm talking productivity, your hunger, even things such as skin, and your body's ability to absorb vitamins. There's many water-soluble vitamins in our diet. So if you don't have enough water, that's obviously problematic. The second habit is walking. And I think if you're looking for a low-impact way to move and just get your blood pumping and get outside into nature, walking is honestly not actually a game changer. I find I get my best ideas when I'm walking. I'll often solve problems in my head. It really helps with your digestion, helps with burning energy. So if your goal is to lose weight, ticks the boxes there. If your goal is to be more productive, ticks the boxes. Is your goal is to be happier? That can certainly help alongside David and Julia's work. So those are my 2.
Awesome. Thank you so much, David. Please, or
Great.
It's not mandatory, but if you would like to share, I'm sure we would all benefit from it.
Thank you, Chris. I realize we're running out of time here soon, so I'll speak quickly. I have 2. So one is, it's easy for us as humans and beings in our humanity to always give compassion to everybody else or to a situation or somebody that tells us a story, but we don't give compassion to ourselves for what we go through. So practicing self-compassion and allowing ourselves to actually inwardly give ourselves something versus always just thinking about giving it to somebody else can be very, very important to your health and well-being. And that can be just like catching yourself for 60 seconds or 2 minutes. You find yourself in a heightened sense of anxiety or stress or something just happened. Just allow yourself to go inward for 60 seconds, 2 minutes, and just give yourself self-compassion and allow yourself to have that quiet moment and reset yourself. The second thing that I would recommend is that a lot of times people try to do too much in order to affect change within themselves at one time. And keeping it simple is what allows it to be sustainable over the long term. Allow yourself to go through a slow change that can be sustained versus it's like getting on the bike and going, I'm going to start biking. Or I'm going to start by doing 25 miles every day. And then you do it and then you can't, and you stop, right? Give yourself the opportunity to build sustainability with something without asking yourself to do too much. And then slowly follow your instinct on how and when to add more.
Beautiful. So that's so important. How do I start? Where do I start? Well, start by taking 1 step. Yeah, most definitely. So we have 1:30 left. And so I'm going to try to use as little of that as possible. I'm going to offer two things, one that applies to just life in general from a perspective of breathing, and then the other that has to do with performance in your everyday life with business or situations in general, and how you want to either be more intense or lower the intensity. So the first way is just breathing in general for overall well-being. Breathe through your nose. Your nose is a perfect tool, perfectly set up with filters that capture particles and allergens and viruses and things that should not go into your lungs. Our nose is put there for many reasons, but try consciously to breathe through your nose and less through your mouth. And here's the reason why. A majority of people are active overbreathers. So on average, a healthy human being, when breathing, breathes about 8 to 12 breaths per minute. People that overbreathe through their mouth can take up to as many as 25 breaths a minute. That's a lot. That causes a whole bunch of different changes, chemically, neurologically, physically, to happen, and none of which are good. So breathe through your nose. If you have or want to get into more about this, then we can do it in the rooms. The other aspect is for performance. If you want to wake yourself up, breathe faster. If you want to calm yourself down, breathe slower and longer. So you're tired, you need to focus. Take 3 breaths, 5 breaths. You will feel it through your entire body. If you need to come down, long, slow, long, slow. Instant changes. And that's it. I try to take as little as possible, but I took it all. I'm sorry. I guess we're going to go to the rooms now, and we'll see you in the individual breakout rooms. Thanks.